Bonjour.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Octave11. Jojo here, and we're here again today with Lama France, chatting about the tarot and the seven rays, which is Tarosophia. Welcome back, Lama.
Bonjour. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me to your podcast. I'm very excited to talk with you. Mind you, we have a lot of practice talking, both of us, for the last few years.
We like it.
4, 5, 6 years. I think it's a long time now.
Yep.
And it's good to talk about these sort of topics so we make sense a little bit of what we are.
Well, it's important right now, isn't it, to understand a little bit more about ourselves so we can embrace our deeper, finer points as a human and as a soul, so we can move forward in these crazy times.
Yes, our sense of purpose. What are we doing here? What am I bloody doing on the planet? Oops, sorry. No, I shouldn't say the words like that. Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
I'll avoid those ones now. I like saying them because in my language, in my funny mind, it's a funny word, bloody, but never mind.
It's emphatic. It's emphatic,
yes.
Isn't it?
Yes. In the English language, it might be a little bit rude, but sorry.
We don't mind.
So first I would like to tell my mantra, the mantra I repeat every day at the moment. Let reality govern my every thought and truth be the master of my life. This is a quote from Treatise on White Magic by Alice Bailey, and it is teachings of the Tibetan master, the master Dwalko. This is my everyday mantra at the moment because I believe we need to find this sense of reality again. We lost it. We are totally imbalanced all around the world, mind you, and we fear.
Well, we've been fed a reality, haven't we, for a long time, a narrative about what reality is, but we need to look beyond that, under that, over that, past that. Yes.
Yes, like this morning, for example, on the French news, because I watch the French news to get a bit more info, Richard BBC, me, the French news, plus ABC and SBS here. So we mix everything, plus our social media, of course. And this morning they were saying about 10 millions of people have left in the last 2 years their jobs in France, but they are not ready to go back there. They were working like 15, 17 hours a day. And nowadays, no. That's why people are missing people to work, because people suddenly realize, why am I living like that?
Well, the whole narrative of 40 hours a week is it's a slave mentality. We don't want to do that. We want to be more creative about it now, don't we?
Yeah. And 17, 18 hours a day, it's more than 40 hours a week. It's huge. And on the news they were saying that, so people have decided to live with their savings and not to work.
I'm all for that. Be more creative with work.
Exactly. So we can not only focus on the negative, we can see also how people are shifting their consciousness and going, is that normal? That's normal life? Is that reality? Do I want to keep doing that? No. So all this language and this sort of a discussion we have here, it's to help us to shift our reality so we can finally choose. Make a choice. That's what life is all about. It's about choosing most of the time.
Absolutely. And embracing the fact that we are the co-creators, so we can choose. Exactly.
Absolutely. And if we want to recreate, let's do it. So that's big. So people say, oh my God, nobody to work and so on. Yeah. There is a good realization there. People realize that, oh, okay. So, yes. What did we want to talk? We want to start.
Okay, So back to, we were touching on the major arcana and the crossover with the seven rays and how you've come up with the system of them crossing over and why. So maybe we could just do a quick run through and then go from there.
Yes, indeed. So I want to talk quickly about the seven rays. People have to do their own research, and it's a part of expanding the consciousness. We pick on an idea or somebody's talking about, oh, I like that, and we go and run with it. That's perfect.
Go
That's
deeper.
what we need. Yes, indeed, and develop our own way of thinking. And we all think differently. We all feel differently. All our perception is different. We cannot even see colors the same way. So you know
true.
what I mean? Even our senses are different. So we have to accept that picking up an idea, we are going to come out at the end with some sort of information which will be different from the one we explain, which we share. But we can agree still, we speak the same language, you see, alphabet, language, it's a communication tool, and that means we can share and say, oh yeah, I can see what you mean, but...
Well, we all have different filters, don't we? So our different experiences give us different filters in how we hear, see, assimilate information.
Assimilate information. So that's why I said, well, I present my perspective, but I don't know half of the wisdom contained in those things. I just pick up bits and pieces and I run with them. But that's how I love doing research. That's what I do.
And as you touched on last time, using your brain as well as your heart in discerning the info.
Indeed, it needs to work together. We need to have this active intelligence and this sense of direction. We need also to have the compassion. Otherwise, we don't perceive the whole picture. There is something missing. It's like walking on one foot, you know.
Overthinking without heart is,
and
asking for trouble.
Yes, and the opposite is also an extreme, which means that we haven't got a whole perception. So yes, it's quite interesting. So my perception about the seven rays, from what I read and the studies I have done for quite some years, and with my spiritual teacher as well, didn't pick up on everything she was saying. I just picked up what I was interested in.
What resonates.
We all do that, and she understood absolutely, because I remember something she was saying, hey guys, I don't need followers, I need thinkers.
It's a big one for now, isn't it? Like really thinking for ourselves moving forward. It's reclaiming.
The same with this is not about me, she was saying, it's about the teaching. So get, rid of this sort of six-ray, passing an edge, putting people on the pedestal, because it doesn't work.
That's right. We're shifting into Aquarius, which is, we're leaving behind the age of the guru and the followers into,
co-working.
The bigger picture. For the greater good.
The same with those lovely masters of wisdom. People have a sense of, oh my God, and so on. I said, hang on a minute. They still keep on learning, those guys, and expanding their consciousness. And yes, we are also co-workers. Without people in incarnation, they have difficulties to bring the energy down. We need to have our feet on the ground as well, to color, with wisdom and love and compassion, the whole planet. And the planet is functioning like that as well. It's a being. We are called human being. Hello. Well, we need to learn what it is to be a human being.
Not the human doing.
No, I love this one. I did write it down. I did write it down somewhere. I love it. So, seven rays. Light. Sunlight. Oh, as I said, a few minutes ago, starlight. Because our sun is a star and radiates energy to the four corners of our system and impacts all the planets around, but even beyond our solar system, because all the stars talk to each other, and that means they send energies and fields and radiates their own energy and share with each other. That's why we call it universe. It's a being again. You see?
It's all about frequency. It's like the octave.
Octave.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. The high
So
one.
the higher octave,
Mm.
and the higher octave is more, it's about the whole picture,
Mm.
not again to put it on a pedestal, it's about seeing the whole picture. And once we see the whole picture, then it's not, the journey is not finished. It
There's
goes
still
beyond.
more.
Oh, there is so much more. This multiverses type of philosophy, I love it. Because we never end our search for meanings, our expansion of consciousness. Even if we become a star, we still grow and change and expand, change forms as well. Like, for example, when people say, oh my God, this star, implodes. How do you call that when they implode those stars? Um, they said, oh my God, it's a big explosion because there is a star. Can't
Oh,
remember the term.
everything gets sucked into it like a black hole. Is it that
Yeah,
way? Yeah.
yeah, when they implode.
Mm.
People say, oh my God, it's the star is dying. No, it's not dying, it's changing form.
Transforming.
Transforming. There
Yeah.
is no death, but our perception, because we cannot still see beyond ourselves, is that, oh my God, the star is dying. No, the star is not dying. It's changing form, but that's beautiful to know that. We need to remind ourselves that even when a body dies, it's changed forms, it
Mm.
transforms. You are correct.
Transforming. Yeah.
Yes. So 7 rays, beams of sunlight, a qualified spectrum of
And
colors.
seven of the rays that we can only perceive with our eyes at the moment.
Yes, and with
Yes.
our ears.
Aha.
Aha!
The
Sound.
frequencies. Yes. Sound.
And our smell, our taste, all the senses, our intellect. That's how we perceive as well, because I include the intellect and our intuition into the 7 senses.
Mm-hmm.
We know 5 senses, but we have intellect, intuition, 7 senses.
Mm-hmm.
And we are discovering them. We were more attuned to the senses when before we developed more of our mental body, mental
Mm-hmm.
nature. That means we were reacting like animals, but it was very useful. Instinct was good. It's a good teacher of survival.
Mm-hmm. Fright, flight.
Yeah, exactly. And go and pick your food and
Mm-hmm.
start to live together in the caves and so on. Very important. But of course, because we developed our mentality, the mind, and more emotions, we start getting together and form little tribes there, little family, and thinking, we forget our senses. Oops, But the senses pick up the rays.
Well, the senses can be dulled. Lots of comfort can dull the senses. So it's good to step out of our comfort zones and remember we've got these incredible senses.
Senses. And
Mm.
that's what I do because I live in an environment where I'm just across the road. I see those big trees, the forest, and so on. Constantly make sure that I'm in touch with that because it is nature which triggers my senses so much. So I can respond. And yesterday I was thinking, beauty, okay, fourth ray, activity. No, 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 beauty is everywhere
Mm-hmm.
in the minerals, in the plants, in the animals, in the sky. We had a beautiful blue sky this morning when we were driving and so on. I was going, beauty is everywhere. It's love, really, beauty, if you want my
Love and
opinion.
beauty. So should we have a look at the 7 rays, Lama, and what each of them are about and what color and frequency each of them sits with?
Yes, yep, we can do that. Um, okay. Of course, we know that we see the rays through the refraction, through a water-saturated atmosphere. That's how we can see a rainbow, for example.
Or
It's
through a
because
prism? Yeah.
yes, prism or
Yes.
refraction, and
Yeah.
so it's quite an interesting thing. And there are 7 rays, as we know, but why? Because that's the model for of the form in our solar system, 7. But as I said earlier or last week, there are more than 7 frequencies, of course, we know that, and vibrations. But it is very important that we see how our model of formation is happening. through those 7 rays. I mean, we associate 7 with a lot of things, days,
Yes.
chakras,
Yeah.
or centers of consciousness. There is a repetition of these 7 everywhere, which is quite funny, and it does happen. And I want also to share with you that 78 cards in the tarot, the major arcana, 3 times 7 plus 1, the Fool's Journey, our consciousness. The minor arcanas, 7 times 8, 56. We are again moving with the frequency of 7. It's a cycle. Yeah? So, of course, there is no, oh my God, it's a coincidence. No. There is an underlying matrix which help us to function on this cycle of life. So there is 7 rays. First rays, I call them, the first 3 rays they are called rays of aspects, and 4 rays of attributes. So, and I have put them under 2, little column, because, I think before I intuit, I need to put things into, little columns and boards and all sorts of things. Then
Very Virgoan.
Yes, very Mercurian as well. And I have to extract myself out of that, otherwise I get caught up in all my little lovely diagrams and so on. No, because life is a bit more than just, as we said last week, multi-dimensional, so I cannot get stuck into my diagram, but I love them. 5th ray. Very Mercurian. So the first 3 rays of aspect, the first one is called power and will. Yeah, I call it energy. Voila. Then the second ray is called soul and consciousness, but it's love and wisdom aspect. Then the third aspect is active intelligence or adaptability. So those 3 rays, I call them the immortal components in the human being. We are all born with those 3 rays of aspect, and we juggle with that all our life, and we learn through our intelligence, of course, experience and using our intelligence, learning to develop compassion, learning to expand our heart chakra through the love and wisdom aspect, and to become wiser and less harmful. I want to go through the mortal components of a human being, which is the physical etheric nature, which is the 7th ray actually, the emotional nature, which is the 6th ray, and the mental nature, which is the 5th ray. And in the middle, you got the 4th ray, which is absorbing both the 3 rays of aspects, the immortal components, and merging the 2, the mortal component, together to create the person in incarnation.
So could you use that, transpose that as a visual with the chakras, as the 4th ray being the heart chakra and the mortal components being the lower chakras, and the immortal ones being the higher ones, where we're connected to source?
Absolutely. So we can go back, and that's where we get a bit confused, because when I do some comparative studies and so on, because they place the 7th ray in a chakra story up here. When I play, and the red color is down there in our root chakra.
Root chakra, yep.
And our physical etheric nature is in our root chakra. Oops.
Well,
and it is the 7th ray. Yes, you are correct. Yes. Isn't it confusing? And when I try to ask to a friend of mine, what do you think of that? I said, don't get too caught up in your diagrams and your mental body, because it's going to give you some difficulties. And also because, yes, the energy from the root chakras, this beautiful antikarana, is moving in like that, in and out. It's not just one way, the other way, and being. So that means it's constantly moving, shifting.
It's the Kundalini energy, which is also the caduceus, the medical industry pinched and used as a symbol.
Yes, yes.
They're
And
constantly moving energy up our spine.
and along this antekarana, yes, which is the seven chakras, you got this amazing kundalini energy, which always shifts in polarity. Each center, it shifts in polarity and moves like
And
yes, of course. And exactly.
so, as you said before, like if you picture it on our crown chakra being open to source, you can also picture it as our root chakra open to source and the planet we're on, and all the energies as above, so below, like an hourglass.
Yes, exactly. You see, so that means people get all confused. Oh, wow! Why do you put seventh ray, meaning the violet ray, with your physical etheric when it's the root chakras? Because it's a bit more complicated than that. It's constantly moving. It's not set in concrete and stop, and it's evolving. It's evolving. So yes, the physical and the etheric nature is found in the root chakra. It's the seventh ray here. The emotional nature is going into actually both, again, that's where it's difficult, both into the sacral area and the solar plexus.
Yes.
Because solar plexus is not a gland, so it's probably the pancreas or some sort of gland on the side of the stomach there. It's a space. Because the chakras are associated with the glands, the glandular system. But definitely this Dantian, as we say in a Chinese philosophy, is the seat also of our fear. There is a lot of things we know which we store in there. In a tummy, I mean, when we are scared, we got a sore tummy. Some people have to run to the loo and so on. Hello, what do you think? Yes, definitely. Fear is sitting there. And so we move between those two there. With the emotional nature is more composed of the digestive system, if you like, and whatever the liver or the pancreas. Or there is another gland. I'll find it later on. And then we move into the fourth chakra, which is the heart. And there we've got the personality creating a connection between the higher aspects of the human being and the lowers. So we are also, our personality, our person in incarnation is sitting in our heart. And people also say that our soul is sitting in our heart. Exactly, because I'd like to remind people that we are not a person with a soul, but we are a soul in incarnation. So our soul in incarnation is here.
So would you say that you like your heart chakra is your intuition, but your solar plexus and that would be your instincts?
The bottom part, the roots and the sacral would be sitting in the instinct.
And then intuition's more in the heart.
The emotion, the feeling. It's also part of the how do you call that, the machine and the mechanism. And then we move into, yes, the intuition is sitting here where the soul is. And that's the language we develop to make sense of our immortal components, meaning the invisible side of us, the energy fields we are made of, and the down-to-earth hands, physicality. Physicality. Then we move, of course, to the throat chakra, which is blue. Actually, people say all shades of blue. People see turquoise and so on. Okay, I'm okay. Oh, don't ask me about colors.
Subjective.
Yes, it is subjective. All the people I talked with when we were doing our classes and so on. Remember, Jeffrey, he had a different perception about the colors he was seeing. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm not discussing that, and I respect people's perception. It's our journey here. So we're not here to compete and confront. We are here to cooperate and work together and share with each other our wisdom and our knowledge and our love, and then grow out of that. That's really the idea.
Ideally.
Ideally, it's an idea, but it can be an ideal as well. Yeah. So the third chakra is here, and this one is definitely our creative side as a human being. You lack this side there indeed. Why? Because all the energy coming from the sacral area lifts, and that's where we express ourselves. Sound, the voice, it's sound, words, intelligence. We developed our intellect through developing a language and communication. It's a brilliant, creative is sitting here, and in the heart as well, but again it's the combination of all of them. And the root chakra is also, and the sacral and the solar plexus are involved in our creative process. All the centers. This one, it's our direction. This one says, I know. What do you know? Oh, I know because of this, that, and it creates a whole set of a structure. It's a structural, and thank God, otherwise we go and float with the fairies, constantly. We need to reconnect ourselves with our beautiful, and it's, of course, we perceive through that third eye.
Yes.
And we perceive more than just the eyes can. That's the extension of our eyesight, is just the big picture. We can find it here when all those chakras are aligned and functioning together.
Yes.
Of course, we've got this one. And this one, it's our big poobah. It's the one we dream of seeing functioning every day, with the heart again.
The thousand-petaled lotus open.
That's the universe. Like behind you, like this image I see there behind you, it moves. It's beautiful, and of course, it's our divine self, our cosmic self. You call it whatever you want. Yeah? It just goes beyond physical Earth system, sun system, your solar system. It's the whole universe opening up there. Indeed, it's all interconnected.
And of course, Lama, then, you could potentially, people are wondering how, they would feel their chakras or check in with their chakras. I mean, we all know meditation, but maybe you have a few little tips for people of how to be familiar with their chakra system and how to maintain it.
Yeah, to maintain them and align them. Here I'm going to bore people because it's about our discipline of life. Maybe, yes, as you said, meaning not abusing our physical body, not abusing our mind, meaning eating properly. We go back from the beginning. What we eat, what we absorb, trying very hard to manage our emotions and feelings, the way we think, and so on, because it will have an effect on all this alignment or non-alignment. Having a discipline of life. That's my self-talk. As soon as something comes out and I go, no, I don't want to do that. So it's a big discipline, because most of the time we ignore totally our emotions and our thoughts, and it blasts the whole universe there, our own universe, our own world. And then we go out and we say, why is the world like that? Yeah.
You create it. We create it for ourselves, don't we?
Yes. I know it's easy to say it's you, bloody Dan Andrew. Oops, no, I shouldn't name anyone, But sorry, he's a part of the human family, and they are all parts of the human family, and their perception may be not ours, but we create what happened. Why do we create this crisis at the moment? Because we want change. Oh, hello. So it's a big shift. And no change, very rare when you look back in history and the culture, all the civilization, change never happened peacefully, unfortunately.
That's correct, yes. It's a destructive force, isn't it?
It is a destructive force because we need to get rid of the old and to build the new. But the new cannot be built without foundation. So we create the new based on the old. We get rid of everything we don't like in the old, and we pick what we've learned and which benefits us and create the new. That
Rebuild.
cannot happen any other way.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, there is a process of destruction, and it's the first ray of power and
Will and
will.
power. Mm-hmm.
Yes, which is bang,
Mm.
exploding everything. But as we remember, when we are thinking about the star, we are recreating ourselves.
It's the Tower card moment.
It is.
Is the Tower card under the first ray?
No, it's under the second ray, actually. It's ruled by love and wisdom. Hey. So now we see that even the pain and suffering we undergo to reattune our little ego, and learn to live with others, is run by love and wisdom and compassion. So it's a good journey, but it is a bruising of the ego. Oops. At the moment we get it very full on there, at all levels, this bruising. But it's so exciting to see the changes happen and people saying, no, I have enough working like a slave, good, because I never thought it was a normal life. But when I was saying that, people think I'm a bit loopy, oh, you are a hippie, you. No, I worked all my life. And I work in, with Richard in the food industry, and boy, it was, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, and
hard work.
Boy, I worked hard.
Well, I mean, yes. I think a lot of people are waking up to the fact that, you can work 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, and you still can't afford to pay the mortgage. So something's not quite right there. We have to change.
Voilà.
Yeah, there's a lot.
System.
It wasn't normal.
That's why. Yes. No. That's why. By the way, that's what when people talk to me about pyramid, sort of a business. Pyramid business, because I'm in network marketing, and said, you are into pyramid. You mean what the corporation have created in our world? No, I'm not actually. I've changed my way of doing business, because this is exactly what our economy is based on.
The trickle up to the 1%.
Pyramid. The bosses there, the elite, and the slaves down there. And we make sure that those slaves, meaning us, parts of the humanity, larger part of humanity, never manage to pay their debts. They are always indebted, Why? To buy a house, we should not even pay that much to buy a house. We are all entitled to have a roof on our head, food on our table.
We are sovereign beings. We should all be able, we shouldn't have to work for all that.
And it wouldn't cost any money. It's normal. The meaning, you see what I mean? So yes, definitely the pyramid one, when in fact 800 years ago we were introduced to what I call the round table system of business and economy, with the lovely legend of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Yes, it's a legend, but that's what guides us. These are archetypes. 800 years ago we were introduced to that. We are still not producing that. Some of us do, mind you.
I like to think of it as mycelium, and how it's ecosystem supporting each other, different nodes, decentralized, little groups, self-organized groups, all cooperating together, and it's equal.
Sharing our skills.
All on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sharing our skills, and because we all have different skills and we love to share them and value the skills we have. Instead of thinking, I'm the creator of this company, so you just work for me. No, we work together. It's teamwork nowadays. Mm-hmm. And that's what the Aquarian Age is going to bring about. Mm-hmm. It's working, group work, working together. The Piscean Age helps us to develop a self-consciousness. We definitely very self, and we went to an extreme to self-centered. Centered, I wouldn't even put this word, centered. We are selfish. Poor fish. No, it's me in my English. Sorry. And so we develop a very sense of self. We have two, and 2,500 years to develop this beautiful sense of self. So we are self-conscious and we become self-aware now. Now we move into this next age, which is going to teach us to be ourself, with others.
Mm-hmm. Authentic within the group.
Absolutely. We will always be different, and we will always think different, everything different. Just we learn to do it together.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of thinking, no, it's me, only me. No.
So, Lama, how would people work out what ray they would come under? I know it's constantly moving, but people would like to look at it for themselves and get an idea of how they could potentially work it out and work with it once they understand what energy is predominant for them.
Do you remember what we did? I called it the Sanat layout. It's
the soul spread.
It's a soul spread, the Sanat layout. So I used only if people have packs of cards, I suggest everyone buy their own pack of cards and start to investigate the imagery language, because it's a language. It's a form of communication, and it helps us to communicate with our soul, actually. Like a child, as we said last week, a child can read images. Why? Because when a child is born, it's still not colored by the physicality yet. The down, very strong being.
All the rules.
Yes. So only the soul is there in the child as is born. That's what it is. Then, of course, we learn to feel, to sense, to all this. And, of course, the soul gets colored by our physicality. And we definitely ground ourselves. That's the way it should be. But in some way, we're going to learn to keep this beautiful soul infused physicality body. So we become definitely a soul-infused personality. We are already. We just need to realize it. And of course, when I talk with Richard said, we're already all that. I say, yes, but that doesn't make a difference if we don't use it here. We need to practice. Knowing that we are soul, we are God, we are divine, and so on, is not enough. It's in our head. How do we make it happen here?
Embody it.
How do we use it? Embody it. That's the big difficulties, and that's why we have cycles of incarnation. That's the whole idea. We bring down into the physicality this beautiful soul and spirit consciousness. Because why? Because the universe needs that. But we don't go there. So we'll talk about that later on. I'll try to remember to put some colors for next time. If you're happy to do it next time.
Absolutely, yeah. And I can put I can put a visual up, Lama, of the 7 rays and the
I'll give you the
words that relate to each of those.
Yeah. I'll give you a little diagram which we used during our classes.
And I think it's just helpful to have a little diagram for people to see there too.
Exactly, and to get used to it, because it's repetition is good. That's why I look also at my 7 planes of consciousness. The 7 planes of the solar system. I have that right above you, above the computer. It's always under my eyes. I need to see that. So the Sanat layout, as I said, the soul layout, is with the 22 major arcana. So we separate the arcana. Actually, I would use not the 22, but the 21, and leave the consciousness doing doing the journey on the side, 21 cards. And then we, of course, sit comfortably in our chair. We start breathing. There is a whole in-tuning to come in. We connect with our soul and with our guides, if we have our guides we are aware of, with our masters, with our teachers. We create a beautiful space, so we are in another state of mind, meaning we are moving into our heart. And that's in that state, we'll have to do it at some stage to sort of do an in-tuning. In that state, we pick 5 cards, or any way you want to put them, it doesn't matter. One will be for the personality, and we'll see the soul, the emotions, I mean the emotional nature, the mental nature, the physical nature. Yeah, we'll have 5. So physical nature, 7th ray, or 7 being. I'm not going to talk to you about the rays because people will get confused. We can be on any ray with our physical nature. It depends how we of our makeup. So we'll put under the physical body 1 card, another card we choose for the emotional nature, another card we choose for the mental nature, another card we choose for the soul nature, another card we choose for the personality. Mm-hmm. Or, yes, the personality will do, because it's what surrounds the 2 components, the immortal and then you see, according to our lovely board there are 3 cards under each rays and 7 cards diagonally, how do you call that?
Horizontally.
And 3 cards vertically. Mm-hmm. And they all fit under the 7 rays. That's also one of we need to put that sort of image there so people get the image, because we need to understand through images as well, not only talking. And you associate, you pick a card and said, here is my first card, the Hermit. The Hermit, it's under the 2nd ray. Okay. And where is it placed? In my nature body, in my physical body, in my mind, mental body, in my emotional body? Where is it placed? So I think we'll have to create also a little diagram so people understand what this soul connection is.
Yep.
And the most important things I want to explain there is that the reason why I have associated the 7 rays with the tarot is that the 7 rays is going to help us to discover, to define our energy body, our energy field. Because rays, it's light, it's energy, it's frequencies, it's vibrations.
And as you said, as people grow and shift and change and learn, their predominant ray would shift and change as also, yes?
Each incarnation, different one.
Okay.
Different ones.
Okay.
Each incarnation. But sometimes when we have contacted our soul a bit more, sometimes we have a cycle of incarnation with the soul with the same rays. But all the other one, the one from the mortal components, meaning physical, emotional, mental, and personality, they shift each time, each incarnation they are going to shift to be different. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting journey, but for me the most important is because I want to understand my energy nature, my energy field. And the 7 rays are the right language to understand our energy field. Mm-hmm. We are more than just, blood and bones.
Guts.
And guts. And this energy field is very important because it's our matrix, basically. Yeah?
Yes,
so it's very important.
And that's how a lot of people would perceive us straight off, like our vibe, our aura, as opposed to anything else first up. So yes. Our ray would be what is projected out there first. So if we're aware of that, then we can be aware of how that's received, or maybe not aware of how it's received, but aware of what you're expressing on that energetic level.
And how we interconnect even without a word. Mm-hmm. We pass somebody in the street, there is a big movement, electromagnetic movement between 2 human beings crossing each other, not knowing each other. We ignore that totally, but it is there. When we go into the underground, in Paris at 6 o'clock at night, we are all What do you think is happening? Stuck to each other. That's what my cousin was saying a few days ago. She said, okay, yeah, we need to distance and put a mask and so on. But when we come home from work, we jump in the underground. We're all stuck like sardine.
Bizarre.
So she
Bizarre.
goes, of course. And she tries to walk as much as she can, but she said it's a few kilometers sometimes. I jump in the underground and I go home. Okay, yeah, I understand. But that's amazing. We are going to give a vocabulary to learn, to define and qualify our energetic field. And it's not only the aura. We have also the etheric body. We have so many energetic fields mixed all around us. And we are much more than just the physical body we see. So that means we radiate everywhere.
It's
Very
the vibes. It's the vibes,
it's
man.
It's the vibes, yes. And yes, we need to start to word and qualify and find vocabulary for that. The 7 rays, it's perfect search, teaching to learn to color all this energy field. And our atomic structure is also releasing energy. I mean, we are made of trillions of atoms to compose a physical...
flitting around.
Yeah, constantly, you know. So it's big, different energy fields. So we have to...
What ray are you, Lama? And then maybe you could explain to us how... Yeah, well, if you let us know what ray, then we can... Yeah, start to understand maybe how, what you're expressing and what your vibe is a lot about.
Yes, what I am expressing is that I've been working practically all my life to try to find my soul. What am I like doing on the planet, but also what am I? Not who am I? Who am I? I could qualify myself very easily because I'm a Virgoan, so that means very organized and so on. Did my studies, went to work, loved working with justice system, so went to work as an assistant with a big, lawyer, firm and so on. Before I was with architects, I love that as well. You see what I was choosing. Then I started working with antiques, because I was searching about the cultures in the past and the civilization. So, that's how I found my work. But that's typical 2nd ray. No, typical 5th ray. It's my mind is on a 5th ray.
Which is, could you remind us again what that one was?
The 5th ray is about concrete knowledge, truth, and science. So I needed to prove everything I was doing.
Virgo brain.
Still do it, indeed. Need to prove. That's why when I threw myself into this amazing research on the divine and the universe and so on, I need to know. That's typical 5th ray, mind. I need to know. Why do you need to know? Some people on the 6th ray are going to just be absolutely resonating with the whole universe without knowing at all how it's happening. And they don't need it. I call them the mystic. Right? Meaning you don't need explanation, you don't need to use your mind, you use your heart and your emotions and you embrace the universe. But for me, I need to know. So I'm dragging everyone behind because I need to know why and how and what's happening and why this and no, I don't understand. I need to understand. My mind needs to understand. Then I can embrace the magic.
Again, it's like understanding a little bit more about your astrology. It gives you another little tool, to use to, understand the soul's journey, really, isn't it? And
exactly. And it's very structured. The tarot is also very structured, except that we work with the symbolism in the abstract mind, and that's a bit subjective, but still it's very structured. 56 minor, 22 major, hello. There is a reason for that behind. There is a huge organization behind that. But I like that sort of thing. I like to know how it's happening. But some other people, as I say, 6th ray won't need that. They will just believe and let the magic happen. without knowing how it's happening. And there is nothing wrong with that. It's a choice because of the combinations of our ray.
So is that the seventh ray, did you say, the mystic?
No, it's the sixth ray.
Sixth, okay. Wow.
But it's brilliant. And those guys, for most of the time, they are very psychic, but they don't know how it's happening. That's okay. They just use their psychism totally, sitting in their, the solar plexus and the sacral area, and help people. Because a lot of us, it's the majority of us in our emotional nature. We are totally emotional there. But of course, we start building the mind. We have done that for a few hundred years, but it's not a long time, if you want my opinion, because we are still having people in some parts of the world which haven't got any education. And the fifth ray respond to education. You see?
Yeah, well, I still wonder, about the education system like that. I think that's all changing as well, because a lot of the information's so narrowed down these days. So,
Yes.
I think self-education is the most important way forward at this point, because we have access now to all sorts of information rather than just getting it driven.
Mind.
Yeah, we do. And we've got the internet.
Oh my God, social media as well. It's brilliant. It's big. And I know people say, it's not good and so on. I love that. And as long as people know that the internet is not God, God it's us. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a tool, isn't it?
It's a mechanism, and we created it. Thank you. So don't put that one on a pedestal. You just use it as a tool.
Absolutely. So maybe you could give us some more examples of different personality types with the rays.
Well, my personality is, my mind is overshadowed by a beautiful ray we call the second ray, love and wisdom. So I always want to help people. You see, my bedside book is called Serving Humanity.
It looks well read.
Yeah, love it. That's my favorite. Of course, I want to serve. I want to have very Virgoan as well, mind you. But still, the second ray is going to guide you into, you want to teach. But you want to learn as well. Because teaching and learning go together. It's like breathing, yeah? We need to learn something from what we teach, and people need to learn something from what we teach, and we need to learn something from what others are teaching us. Otherwise, it doesn't function. That's why when I have some ideas with, like, for example, the seven rays and the tarot, I started with classes. And I was not sure where I was going, but I started with classes, and I said to people, I don't know everything. Sorry, guys, you have to make up your mind with different things because I don't get the whole picture. But for the last 10, 15 years, I've been giving, lectures or little workshops and then classes for like 4 or 5 years, Suddenly it falls into place. I see more. Why? Because I learned from being in a group. That's my second ray soul nature. We will want to share constantly with others, to synthesize everything. That's very first ray, but synthesize still the fact that we want to learn from each other, and that we want to work in group. Very, very second ray.
So back to if people want to work out how, if they can work out their own dominant ray. So you'd have a 5-card reading, so you obviously got 5 different energies there. And how do you work out which is the most dominant?
Well, when you learn about your cards a bit more, because very often I go, here we go. This one is the 6 of Wands. Okay. That's what I was exactly telling you. 6 of Wands, it's little fairies dancing around the maple together. That's my favorite activity. I love doing that, working with others, and talking with others and being involved. Yes, so that means learning about the archetypes of the tarot, looking at, meaning picking a card. It's a job. Again, it's a sort of it's a discipline. Writing down how you interpret the card, then look at the book. But don't look at the book first. make an effort to interpret your own card, to see the colors, to see the number, what numbers means. Search about numerology. Oh, this number means that. Go right into the image and the symbols attached to each image.
Mm-hmm.
And that will help you to say, ah, it's my personality. It's my little ego functioning today. I'm functioning like, what's my ego? Third ray, my personality. I'm functioning like military things as well. Things in order and so on. No, you don't do that. You do like I told you. Oh God, I don't like doing that, but I do it. I do it, and sometimes I exaggerate so much going in that direction. You see, you recognize in the archetypes, in the image you picked for your ray, under your ray, the ray and the personality, and the different ray for the soul and so on. You pick up how you behave, but that comes from knowing your archetypes, the archetypes of the tarot, and also knowing about the rays, learning about the rays. It's how do I discover somebody? Oh, here is a fifth ray, for example, Nola, typical fifth ray personality, no doubt about that. Nola, of course, she is functioning by her knowledge, and she has created an amazing reservoir of knowledge there, and she's very well organized. She never forgets things and so on. She writes them down if she forgets.
I'm definitely not fifth ray.
Yeah, you see what I mean? She's so, it's all together and so on. So that's from learning about the rays and learning about the archetypes of the Tao that you start to recognize. It's practice, really.
Mm-hmm.
It's practice. At the beginning, it will be like a different language, which we have to learn. It's a language.
So where would you recommend people finding out a little bit more info on the rays, Lama?
Yes, well, there is a book also, I haven't got it here, which it hasn't even any more covers. It's called Esoteric Psychology, #1, and it's from Alice Bailey. And plenty of information about the rays there.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
brilliant. Yep. And esoteric psychology, of course.
And we haven't touched on too the rays and how they relate to the different angelic energies as well. So maybe we could talk a little bit about the angelic realm and how they cross over into the ray realm as well.
The ray, the portal which connects with the angelic kingdom and the human kingdoms, it's the fourth ray. It's the heart. Voilà, the heart chakra. It's a door, ding, ding, a door opening like that, in and out constantly, and so on. And from my understanding, the angelic form is a part of the builders of forms. Meaning some of our material, when we materialize and manifest, is made of some of their form as well. And they are the builders and the architects as well. The architects, I would say, they are the archangel, meaning they create a form. And all the angelic little ones from all the different rays as well are turning up and faceting, like making a sculpture. That's how I see the angelic and the form world. But there are more than that. There is a lot more to the angelic kingdom if we want to investigate this area. It's beautiful, beautiful. It's another form of life on the planet, full stop. We don't see it, well, tough. We can't see it.
See signs of it though, don't you?
Oh yes. I do as well.
Yes.
I do as well. I see signs of them, that's for sure. But we don't see them with our eyes. We hear things sometimes and we say, we ignore totally, Meaning that's, I think, our understanding of the rays and our energy field is going to make us much more receptive to the angelic form. Why? Because they are energy beings.
Yes.
So, hello. The elemental forces, energy as well. We acknowledge them as earth, fire, air, water,
Yes.
Ether as well, because there is more than four, as usual.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so it's beautiful. I found so. What do you want to know about the angels and the rays?
Well, just that maybe if you could go through and talk about each archangel and which ray they're represented by, so we can, yeah, maybe you could, people could tune in even to that archangelic energy that relating to the ray, if they can work out their ray. Yeah, I just
Okay.
think they're a wonderful. What am I trying to say?
Guides. They are guides. They
Guides.
guide
That's right.
us.
They're accessible and they're
They are accessible,
mm,
absolutely.
and they're
And yes, we
waiting. They're
can
willing and waiting to assist.
constantly,
Hmm.
because they are at the origin of our form. I mean, they were the builders of our form, the human forms, and any form, meaning of the plant form, they are at the origin of that.
Mm.
Yeah? And their boss is under the ray number 1 of will and power. You got Michael.
With his sword.
Yes, with his sword. And the quality associated with Michael, or if you like, the receptive aspect of this being, or of this force, is faith. There is a quality and really associated, and it's a feminine aspect, we call it.
Lady Faith, yeah.
Lady Faith.
Mm.
Lord Michael, Lady Faith. Second ray, we got Lord Jophiel, Lady Constance. So constancy. Yeah?
That was my grandmother's name.
Oh, beautiful. Constance, beautiful.
Mm.
That really tells how we embed into a child by giving them a name, such an energy.
Mm.
It's amazing. When you call somebody Michael, oops, what do you think is going to
That's my father's name.
Will and power, the boss,
Mm.
in some way, in under the third ray, we got Lord Samuel, and Lady Charity.
Mm-hmm.
Under the fourth ray, we got Lord Gabriel and Lady Hope. Under the fifth ray, we got Lord Raphael and Lady Mary. And that's something most people don't know, is that our good world mother, Lady Mary, has an archangelic form as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't all have that. But this one specifically has an archangelic form. So that means she came from the archangelic realm, and move into the human one.
Mm.
We are allowed to do that. And boy, you can see that in people when they are totally lost, very thin vibration, very, very sensitive, and not knowing what they are bloody doing on this planet, lost,
Mm-hmm.
You say, oh, here is an angel who just incarnated. It's so hard. It's so hard for those
Dense.
beings.
Yeah.
Density is enormous, but you recognize it in some people who are so thin that you can see their vibrations. You see them vibrate and say, boy, this one has difficulties to densify.
Yeah.
It's
Almost
hard. And then,
transparent. Mm.
yes, almost transparent. And you said, oh my God. And they have difficulties, of course. But people say, oh, it's psychological. No, it's not. It has nothing to do with being, an illness. It has to do that we haven't got the vocabulary, we haven't got the system to help those people to densify, meaning to become human.
Mm.
And no, because we don't pay attention to the energy field, the energy body. But that's an interesting journey. I go sideways each time. So, fifth ray, Raphael and Mary. Sixth ray, Lord Uriel and Lady Donna Grace. And the seventh ray is Zadkiel and Lady Amethyst. Seventh rays. Okay. I want to mention again that people have a different way to place the archangelic forces under the rays. And I have discovered that when I play with my little card, inner child cards, because they put in this pack of cards, they put 4 archangelic forces in these 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th ray. And they are not the same as the one I have there. But how do I deal with that? I don't pay attention to that when I give readings and one of the archangels appears, according to the inner child card. I know that there is an archangelic force around the person. Mm-hmm. There is no doubt about that. So I put aside my own diagrams, mental construct, if you like, mm-hmm. and embrace what they offer here, because Gabriel is associated with water. Yes, I know. So I work.
You picked a card before as we started, Lama. Maybe you'd like to share what card you got for today.
Yes. Voila. Lovely image.
Speaking of angelic.
Mm-hmm. Angelic being. Indeed. Because the earth is also was built from angelic, was associated with the angelic kingdom to get its form. The planetary being was formed by the angelic forces and others.
Thanks, angels.
Elemental forces as well. A lot of different things. It's not only one. It's a combination of different forces. So, beautiful guardian of crystals, Gaia.
Beautiful.
That means let's hope that we make a beautiful effect. We have an effect on our work together and with the rest of people listening at the moment and so on this big picture there on our planet. Yeah. Because she needs the support.
She does. Hold her close.
Absolutely. We hold her close and we acknowledge the beauty as well of the planet. It's very important because we forget what beauty is.
We need to remember.
Beauty in a position, where it doesn't make sense at all when beauty surrounds us totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, on that note, Lama.
Yeah, even beauty of the human being, don't forget. Mm-hmm. We're a part of this form of life. It's all the multi-forms there on the planet. So that means when we care for that one, we care for ourselves. If the biosphere is destroyed, we can't survive. Let's remind ourselves that, So it's very important. I love my little planet, my blue planet. Love
Fabulous.
Well,
thanks so much, Lama. Thanks for chatting with us again today.
Yeah, we've been all over the place, but
we have been a little bit.
Pick up a few little things on the way, but that's the way. I think people will pick whatever they need to pick, and that's right. No problem at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll do it again soon.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing all your wisdom, Lama.
Well, I need yours as well, otherwise I don't function.
Symbiotic.
Yes, symbiotic. Yeah. Exactly.
All right, darling. You have a great week and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. See you.
Oh, she's gone.